Ground game that's vastly improved this season. Makes several miss on his way to the score and a 14-0 lead for the Cavs. In the second quarter, still up 14-0, means this time from 13 yards out. 21-0 advantage. Dorman taking control on its way to a fifth win against just one loss and a 3-0 start in region play. A 34-0 shutout against one of their Spartanburg County foes.
We've played a really strong defensive game every week, and I think they've done a good job, bounced back from that Greenville week, and we've gotten better. And just proud of those guys. The box played really well, and our secondary played really well. So hats off to them. Did a great job.
Being focused in practice, our scout team gave us a good look, and I seen the ball. I went for the ball. I know I didn't score, but I got in this play.
Yeah, some big defense by Donovan Anderson and others as they forced a turnover that set up a TD. Well, it's a Cavalier team that gets ready for the big rivalry game against Spartanburg. Much more on that as our show progresses. Elsewhere in Region 2-5A, Gaffney trying to get a road victory and improve to 3-0 in the region against Eastside, which has played some early region foes tough, but have no wins to show for it. Peyton Schrader and the Eagles, three 450-yard rushers going into the game. That touchdown cut Gaffney's lead in the second quarter just 3 at 19-16, but Banks Mountain first finding Quintus Hines, and then on the keeper, really nice read by the QB, takes it in for another touchdown. Boughton and Gaffney hang on for the road win for a 40-35 victory. Teams didn't play last year. That was their first meeting since 1979. Burns and Riverside. Burns team trying to bounce back and go to 2-1 in the region. Riverside at 1-1 as the night began. Keon Knowles with a nice run. That led to Gideon Merheeb. 3 touchdown passes on the night. That was one of them to Peyton Stevenson. It cut the Burns lead to 21-7, but Kane Rogers and the Rebels come right back. He hooks up with Chew Harris on that connection, a 53-yarder. Rogers on the night passing for 149 yards and 4 TDs as Burns made it 12 straight wins against Riverside since 1990. 42-27. And Spartanburg and Wade Hampton in the other game in Region 2-5A. Vikings trying to make it 6 straight in the series against a Wade Hampton team, trying to avoid a 20th straight loss overall. Trey Burke and Skylar Douglas set the early tone for the touchdown 7-0 lead. Then Torian Davis on the receiving end. Burke passed for nearly 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. And the Vikings getting a third win on the year overall. They improved to 2-1 in region play. And again, they're getting ready now for a visit from Dorman off the 52-0 win against Wade Hampton. Now over in Region 1-5A, Hannah going on the road. They knew it would be a tough one at Hillcrest, but it turns out to be a dominant performance for the Yellow Jackets. That connection from Gavin Maggin to Brock Cole made it 25-7 as they were nearing halftime. Later, Isaac Galloway, a nice run, sets up a Keegan Strickland touchdown. And Hannah was on its way to another victory against Hillcrest and a third without a loss in the region.
I thought our kids played extremely well in the first half, fought hard, we prepared well all week, and just super proud of our kids and how they performed tonight.
Now he was impressed with that. Got to be impressed with the fact that they've won 5 in a row and 3-0, really sitting in the driver's seat in that region. Greenwood trying to keep pace. They took on Malden, and on the road, Tristan Lewis hooking up with Bryce Seaborn made a nice catch. It set up a Lewis touchdown and a 26-10 advantage for Greenwood. They made it a 12th straight win against the Mavs, who were improved but fell to 0-3 in the region. And the Eagles now 2-1 in Region 1-5A, but of course the blemish, a loss at Hannah. Don't sleep on the Greenville Red Raiders. They were trying to stay unbeaten in Region 1-5A and make it a 5th straight win against Easley. A lot of green and red gets you in the holiday spirit, as Keyshawn Farrow had reason to celebrate there after a touchdown made it 7-0. Farrow then shows off his arm. Arkea Shell on the receiving end. That's a 40-yard gain to the 10, set up another Farrow touchdown. Greenville pulls on to the victory. They've been really an impressive crew. They've won 5 in a row, and they've allowed 32 points since giving up 34 to Dorman in the opening game. That's how good their defense has been, as they won 42-16. They had allowed 32 points in the previous games heading into that ball game against Easley. Now, just a handful of teams remain unbeaten. One of them is an absolute machine, the #1 team in 3A in the SC Prep Football Media Poll, the Belton Honeypath Bears, who established a 42-0 lead after just one quarter last Friday against West Oak. MJ Earl and the offense humming along. Noah Thomas hitting Earl for the touchdown. Bears made it 13 straight against West Oak, and the reigning champs in Region 1-3A getting off to a good start in region play with a 63-0 victory. Mountain View Prep, another unbeaten. They got back to action playing at North Greenville against Union County in a Region 3 3A game. Mac Anderson with the touchdown. Union County fell to 1-6 and 0-1 on the back end of this game, but Drayshawn Mills has been a real bright spot. He's gotten it done in a lot of ways here on special teams. A 98-yard run back on the ensuing kickoff return. Wasn't enough, though, for the Jackets. They fell 48-7 a year ago against MVP. Last Friday, they fell 64-14 as MVP improves to 6-0 overall and gets off with a win in region play as they start things out. Meanwhile, Ware Shoals, the Hornets, the other of the area unbeatens, and they were home against Whitmire and Raheem Robinson, and the Hornets ready to play some D, and they've been doing that just fine. Pouncing on the turnover, and then Jaden Johnson rewards them as Robinson's on the receiving end here for an early touchdown. Ware Shoals rolling on to a 6th win without a loss. They matched their best start since 1988. That team began 12-0. Well, this year's edition with a 42-14 triumph is 6-0, and they improve to 1-0 in region play in Region 1 1A. That's just a sample of some of the action we covered in Week 7 in the high school red zone last Friday. There is a whole lot more to come on this show, but let's have a conversation. Todd Summers, Mariah Ross, and I talking about some of the things we observed last week and how they will impact things going into this week. It's time now for our roundtable. Todd, you got to see some teams you haven't gotten to watch in a while, like Greenville, and I think Easley was in there as well. I know you saw Wren earlier, but just some of the thoughts of some of the ball clubs you saw last Friday.
First time I got to see Greenville as the Red Raiders were taking on Easley and quarterback Keyshawn Farrow. What stood out to me was he's small. He's a playmaker. He makes things happen, but he's 5'9", 165 pounds. But he's dynamite, man. He is really good with the ball in his hands. He does a lot of read options and keeps on a lot of those read options as well. Archie Shell, wide receiver, stood out as well. And then they got a defensive end, Franklin Whitley. 6'7", first year playing football. This week, he got an offer from Clemson. He's already got offers from South Carolina, Alabama, and Florida. Again, this is the first year he's played football, and those are his offers. So that's pretty impressive. And then I also got a chance to see Emerald play Wren. The Vikings had a wide receiver, Colson Marino. He's a sophomore. Big 6'2", 6'3" kid, and it looks like he is going to be something special. He made a couple of great catches in that football game against Wren. Bo Height, also a sophomore quarterback, so they can keep that combo together. Maybe they can do some things for the next couple of years. On Wren's side, Muntu Brown, big, powerful running back. He's tough to bring down, and he likes contact, and Wren's offense goes through him.
You mentioned Franklin Whitley, the Greenville defensive end. Before he even played a varsity game, remember, we were talking about him. He'd gotten some of those offers you mentioned, and Scoot Watson, as new head coach, was kind of trying to downplay him. We know he's a real deal. Absolutely. Mariah, you got to see Dorman and Boiling Springs. You covered that game exclusively last Friday, so you now in person have seen Gaffney, Spartanburg, and Dorman. And if it's reasonable to believe that going into this week that those three plus Burns, which like Spartanburg, has one loss in the region, while Gaffney and Dorman have yet to lose. Give me an assessment of what you're thinking about what it's going to look like at the top, having seen three of those four teams in person.
Yeah, having seen all three of those teams, right now it might be just because it's fresh in my mind, but the Dorman Cavaliers are certainly asserting themselves as a team to be in that region. We saw them be really strong in all three phases of the game, but particularly on defense, where they held Boiling Springs to their lowest offensive production all season, just 51 passing yards, 29 rushing, and they were also able to generate 4 takeaways on defense. So really strong there. And on offense, Meek Slidell, the quarterback, being really consistent, 8 of 13 with just over 110 yards. But it's the running game of the Cavaliers that continues to stand out. Nick Means, again, with a multi-touchdown game, over 100 yards. And Isaac Tate, also another junior, with 80 yards and a touchdown. So all of these teams really have strong running. I would say Gaffney, probably the least amount of running potential, obviously losing Jagan McDowell early in the season. But Spartanburg, Dorman, and Burns, we all know, have some really, really solid running backs. So this week is going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a real testament to how strong this division is and and whoever comes out on top is certainly going to need a big win this week.
Other than Amari Werner at Seneca, just off the top of my head, the other good running backs in this area are all non-seniors, either juniors or sophomores. And Todd, I think Meek Slidell, the new quarterback at Dorman this year, he moved in, was going to be key for them. So you're focused on that game. We'll see a preview story coming up here on the show. But I think Dorman-Spartanburg will obviously say a lot. And what are some thoughts going into that game?
Meek is a game manager, I think, and I say that with all due respect, but the offense goes through the offensive line and the running game. Came up with an interesting stat back in 2024. Last year, Dorman averaged 72 yards rushing a game. This year, they're averaging more than 230 yards rushing a game. Part of that is offensive line coach Michael Lancaster came back after spending a year at Spartanburg and 2 years at Travelers Rest. But this is a rivalry that went over to both Dorman and Spartanburg on Monday and talked to the coaches and talked to the players. And you understand why it's such a big deal, because it means so much to so many different people. Spartanburg has won 4 straight in the series, but before that, Dorman had won 4 in a row. And you just start talking to these guys, and they remember these games, and they know the guys on the other team. And it's just fascinating to me that, high school football means so much to so many people, and you can see that on Friday night when Spartanburg plays host to Dorman.
And Mariah, you're going to see Greenwood, a ball club you covered a couple of weeks ago when they hung on for one against Hillcrest, play a huge home game. Greenville is still unbeaten in that region along with Hannah, and Greenville still has Hannah ahead of it. So Todd mentioned the Greenville part of it, and Keyshawn Farrow's really emerged for Greenville. But the Greenwood team, are they all about Tristan Lewis? Will they go as Tristan Lewis goes?
It appears that way. He definitely has the arm talent that we've seen from a lot of quarterbacks in that region, but even more so his ability to command the run game and just extend plays with his legs is something that is really powerful for that Eagles team. So Scoot Watson has done a great job with Greenville, as we just said, but it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top of this one.
And coming up on the review preview, well, a guy who has been on both sides of the Spartanburg-Dorman rivalry. Todd just alluded to him. And much more on Michael Lancaster, his journey, and how he's getting pumped for Friday's big showdown. It's just ahead on the review preview. On the other action last Friday in week number 7, Region 3-3A, the opener for Woodruff and Broome. Woodruff playing the game without their star running back Aiden Gibson out with an injury, but others picked up the slack, like Curtis Bell taking it to the end zone for the score as Woodruff built a lead. Jalen Lyles later with a touchdown for the Wolverines. They have won 7 out of 10 as they came away with a 49-14 win on the road against Broome. Open date now for the Wolverines, and they would hope that maybe Gibson can come back from his injury issue the following week as they get into the grind of region play. And welcome back into the review preview. Before we check out some other action from last week, let's focus on one of the big games coming up in week number 8 in the high school red zone. Dorman and Spartanburg renew their rivalry at Viking Field. And offensive line coach Michael Lancaster, we just heard him mentioned in our previous roundtable discussion. Well, with the Dorman Cavaliers, he's doing some good things once again on their staff, and he has the distinction of having had a hand on both sides of this rivalry over the years. And Todd Summers has more.
Former Spartanburg offensive lineman Michael Lancaster knows the Dorman-Spartanburg rivalry as well as just about anyone, having experienced it 31 times.
The city of Spartanburg and Spartanburg County in general just love football. You know, it's important to people here. It always has been, even back when I played in the rivalry many years ago.
Despite helping the Vikings beat the Cavaliers 4 times as a player,
Not good.
Lancaster joined the Dorman coaching staff in 2000.
When I do this, you're just stepping and coming right down the edge of the board now, okay?
And spent 22 years on Dave Gutshaw's staff, coaching, among others, current Cavaliers head coach Jake Morris.
Knowing Jake and having coached him, it's a family atmosphere here. Being here for 22 years, all the relationships and all the connections that you make and all those types of things, that doesn't go away, even though you may leave for a little while.
In 2022, Lancaster accepted his first head coaching job at Travelers Rest, although 2 seasons later, he was back at Spartanburg High as an offensive line coach.
Last year didn't feel right. We're playing Spartanburg, and then he's on the other sideline. There's something about that just didn't feel right.
So Coach Morris convinced his mentor to come back to Dorman to be the Cavaliers offensive line coach.
Good, 2 good reps right there.
Which will add yet another interesting twist to Friday night's rivalry game.
Knowing them, that'll be fun. It'll add a little bit of a component to the game for sure, but right now I'm a Dorman Cavalier through and through.
The proof of his impact is in the production.
1, 2, 3, right down.
With the help of other great coaches and much improved offensive line play, Dorman has gone from averaging 77 yards rushing a game last season to more than 230 a game on the ground so far this season.
Playing offensive line, you usually take the nicest kids on the team and have to make them into just stone cold killers almost.
Taught us how to be better men, to make sure our steps are good, you know. He wants us to be perfect. So I feel like he brought us a lot.
His X's and O's are great. His scheme's great. The technique that he works every day is great. But those guys will literally run through a wall for him. I'm speaking as a guy that played for him.
And that they will. What a coach he is. Well, back to the action from last week, and in Region 2-3A, it was the opening night, and among the games, St. Joe's and Christ Church. Cavaliers dominating the series over the years going in, having won 18 of the 21 meetings. Looked like they were about to add to a 6-point lead in the third quarter, but Josh Lyons on the giveaway by Judd Wyndham went 99 yards and gave St. Joe's the 27-26 lead in the third. Michael Martin, though, comes back. He had a 300-yard rushing game the week before, gets in there to make it 32-27, Cavs back in the lead. Martin later fumbled, but Reed hit there to fall on it, and it was a 12-point advantage for Christ Church in the late stages. On the kickoff that followed, though, Paul Norman of the Knights, look at him go, another long play for a score for St. Joe's. That cut the deficit to 5 at 39-34, but that's how it ended. Christ Church has won 8 in a row now in the series. They hang on against their rivals from just around the corner.
We got down early, kickoff return, pick 6, but I think it speaks to the character of our team to just keep fighting, persevere. I'm proud of our guys for fighting. Heck of a team, man, heck of an effort by those guys over there.
Yeah, it's a great rivalry, a big one early on in Region 2-3A play. So Christchurch now gets ready to visit Powdersville Friday night in the high school red zone. That could end up being the region championship. The defending champion Patriots opened up region play on the road at Southside Christian. Nigel Rock, the pick for the Sabres, at home against Kagan Reed. Third quarter and a 10-0 lead for Powdersville, and Max Bright has a whole bunch of Jaden McGreer on the sack, and then Zach Taylor, the big defensive lineman, stepping in front of a Bright pass, takes it to the end zone, a pick six for a DL, a 17-0 lead. Zach Taylor, a general on the field, perhaps a president in stature after that. Part of a 24-0 win for Powdersville, sets up a big showdown at home against Christchurch upcoming Friday night. In Region 1-2A, the opening night had Clinton in a battle of Red Devils against Liberty. Angelo Cromer and the Red Devils able to get control of this one. He'll take it into the end zone. The Red Devils of Clinton, that is, at home against the Liberty team that went in 4-2. Clinton trying to get over 500, and they roll on to the victory. The reigning champs and facing a 2A foe for the first time this season. They had played up in classification against some tough folks during their 3-3 start, but Clinton cruising 49-6. Also in Region 1-2A, Chesney could be a team that makes a run at Clinton's title. They were at Blacksburg and dominating a Wildcats team that remains winless on the year. They made it 7 straight in the series. Blake Cochran the touchdown, as the Eagles improved to 4-2 overall and open up region play with a 48-19 win. Region 1-4A, you had a feeling this might be a shootout as Emerald made the trip from the Lakelands up to take on Wren. A couple of really good offenses. Early second quarter, Bo Height tossing it up. Colson Marino pulls it down. Nice grab as he went up high to get that one. Led to a Marquez Anderson touchdown. It gave Emerald a 17-7 advantage. Wren cutting back into that. Muntu Brown a nice run. That led to a field goal as they cut into the Vikings lead. This one a total shootout as Wren pulls away 45-44. Each team went in 3-2 overall. Wren's now 1-0 in the region. Region 1-4A, it included Westside, the reigning champs, trying to get themselves a second straight win after an 0-4 start. It began well for him. Jay White, just a freshman, on the opening kickoff. The smoke hadn't cleared yet from the intro. He takes it all the way back. Southside fell for a 27th consecutive time. Westside won a 15 straight region game, 55-0. Also in that region, Lawrence and Fountain Inn. In addition to the Wren victory and the Westside win, Fountain Inn was trying to get out of the gate 1-0. Nemo Fernandez and Lawrence went in winless. That goes for a touchdown, a 7-0 lead. But Sam Holliday to Ben Rue, part of a Fountain Inn victory by a final count of 26-7 as Fountain Inn starts out 1-0 in Region 1-4A. Region 2-4A, the teams you might expect to win last week did. Seneca Greer and the Daniel Lions, who got this play on defense at a Christian Chancellor, and they made it 18 straight against the Berea Bulldogs and a 56-0 advantage. The action from last week, when we come back, we cap it off with the plays of the week from week number 7 after this. Back on the review preview, let's close out this edition with our look back to the plays of the week from week number 7 and play number 5 from the Greenwood win against Malden. Tristan Lewis, nice throw, but a better catch by Bryce Seaborn. Little back shoulder action, but he got twisted around, able to reach out and pull it down, and the Greenwood win. Play number 4, well, the other school from Greenwood, the Emerald Vikings, they made the trip up to take on Wren and lost by a point in a shootout. Colson Marino, though, high points the ball, pulls it in. Part of the effort for Wren. Play number 3 from the victory by Zach Taylor in Powdersville at Southside Christian. A defensive lineman on a pick 6. Something he'll be telling folks about for years and years for play number 3. Play number 2, Keyshawn Farrow, a deep ball for Shell. Great leaping grab as Greenville got the win against Easley. And Shell with a nifty catch for play 2. And play number 1, Christchurch able to survive against St. Joe's, but Judd Wyndham gave it up, and Josh Lyons took it out of the air and went 90+ yards for the touchdown and a 5-point loss. Join us at 11 o'clock on Channel 7, 11:35 on the C-Dub Friday night in the high school red zone. For now, we say so long and thank you for joining us. Pete Yanity, we'll see you soon.